Ohai. Novosibirsk. Pronunciation. Till 1926, New Nikolaevsk. The third most populated city of Russia. The administrative center of Siberian Federal District, the Novosibirsk region and the Novosibirsk district. Isn't a part of the last. The center of West Siberian Economic Region. The city of regional value forms the municipal unit, the city of Novosibirsk, with the status of the city district, which is the most inhabited municipal unit in the country. Also in Novosibirsk there are a management of West Siberian Railway, representation of the Russian President in Siberian Federal District, Presidium of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences and Cassation Military Court of the Russian Federation. The city is the center of the Novosibirsk agglomeration. The largest shopping, business, cultural, transport, education and scientific center of Siberia. Novosibirsk is founded in 1893, received the status of the city on December 28, 1903. On January 10, 1904. Years. Population -1,620,162 people. 2021. Thanks to what it is the most multi-inhabited city of an Asian part of Russia and the biggest in Russia, the municipal unit, the city without the status of the territorial subject of the Russian Federation. The city is located on both river banks near the Novosibirsk Reservoir, formed on partitioned by a dam of the Novosibirsk hydroelectric power station. The territory of the city makes 502.7 km. The mayor is elected by carrying out universal suffrage among residents. This position since April 23, 2014 is held by Anatoly Lokot. Cheer up. The decree of the President of the Russian Federation of July 2, 2020 to the city gave the rank City of Labor Valor. Etymology. There was in 1893 as the settlement a new village. The unofficial name Gusevka. In connection with construction of the railway bridge through the Ob River when carrying out the Trans-Siberian Railway. In 1894 the new village is renamed into the settlement of Alexandrovsky, in honor of the Emperor Alexander III, the initiator of construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway, and in 1895 the settlement is renamed into New Nikolaev in honor of the Emperor Nicholas II. In 1903 the city of Novosibirsk is transformed in Bezwezdy. A component new it is included in the name for difference from names of two other cities existing then with the name Nikolaevsk. In the mouth of Amur. Since 1926 Nikolaevsk on Cupid. And in Zavolzy. Since 1918 Pugachev. In 1926 Novosibirsk is renamed into Novosibirsk. History. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, one of the first stone buildings in the city. 1899. The city was founded on the place of the large ancient settlement of Chatsky Tatars. The Nikolsky churchyard of the village of Krivoshekovo was the first Russian settlement in the territory of modern Novosibirsk. On April 30. On May 12. 1893 there arrived the first party of workers for construction of housing for workers who will begin to arrive for construction of the bridge. This moment is considered to be official date of birth of Novosibirsk. By 1896 the West Siberian Railway was completed to open this connection, but by Krivoshekovo it was partially destroyed. More than 100 families with houses were moved on the opposite coast, having founded in 1891 the settlement of Krivoshekovsky. The Atlas of Asian Russia Street, Petersburg, 1916. And on the place of the demolished part of the village access roads, and in one verst from them, the Krivoshekovo station. Since 1960, Novosibirsk Western were constructed. In 1897 the built railway bridge through the Ob River was opened for the movement. Existence of the railroad infrastructure of the station promoted inflow of the population to the resettlement settlement. So, for several years the number of its inhabitants increased from 685 to 2000. The Krivoshekovsky settlement is included in structure of the city of Novosibirsk only on October 20, 1930, having received the name Zobsky district. Since 1934, Kirov. 11 on May 24. 1909 in New Nikolaevsk there was a terrible fire. It proceeded several days. Fire destroyed 794 houses with all homestead constructions, 22 quarters of the city burned down, more than 6,000 people remained homeless. The majority of them camped under the open sky along the Kamenka River. The general damage caused by the fire was over 5 million rubles gold. After the fire in several days epidemic of a typhoid and cholera began. Also in 1909 the railway station Ob is renamed into Novosibirsk. In 1912 the authorities of New Nikolaevsk officially enter universal primary education. By then universal primary education was entered only in Yaroslavl. Same year there is a louder event. The matter is that the fate of New Nikolaevsk could become similar to the fate of other station settlements which in the same way appeared on crossing of the great rivers and the Trans-Siberian Railway, but the case interfered. In Street Petersburg the decision to connect by the railroad Siberia with Altai was made. There were different options of a starting point, but Vladimir Zhernikov, the mayor of New Nikolaevsk, within 3 years all means tried to convince the Imperial Commission for the Railroads that it is necessary to pave the way to Semipalatinsk, a terminal point of the Altai branch, from the station town of New Nikolaevsk. As a result of 3 the main thing for future Novosibirsk an event took place on June 16, 1912. The Zhernikovsky option passed the royal statement, and New Nikolaevsk became suddenly the multimodal node, largest in Russia. The southern transport beam automatically changed the status of all others, they turned into transnational. From now on in New Nikolaevsk the economic boom, unprecedented on rates, began. In 1915 when construction of the railroad New Nikolaevsk, Semipalatinsk just came to an end, in the city at 70,000 of the population 7 banks already worked. Street Nicholas Chapel which same year was solemnly opened on Nikolaevsky Avenue, nowadays Krasny Avenue, became a symbol of the time. In 1915 the railway station Novosibirsk 2, since 1960 is under construction, Novosibirsk Yushny. The Novosibirsk station is divided into stations Novosibirsk I passenger and Novosibirsk 3 commodity. In 1916 New Nikolaevsk was chosen as the provincial city for again formed Altai province which was supposed to be formed in 1917. The provisional government, however, then decided to make the provincial city of Barnaul. By 1914 the population of the city of New Nikolaevsk totaled 6,000 people, in 1915 7,500 people. Without the variable structure of the billeted troops in the city are available private and railway piers with a glacier for oil on 820 tons, 8 religious institutions, 5 Orthodox Christians, 1 Catholic, 1 Old Belief churches, 1 Jewish chapel, more than 40 educational institutions, including real school, a female gymnasium, 4 cool city, 2 cool railway and initial schools, printing house, 4 libraries, 4 hospitals, outpatient clinics, treasury offices, 6 banks and 2 agencies of land banks. Turnover of banks about 250 million rubles. The exchange, the plants, military, iron, TVA, Trout and Vermin and Peters, tanning, soap producing, sawing. After the February Revolution, elections to City People's Assembly took place. Council of Working, Soldiers and Country Deputies was in parallel educated. 14 on December 27. 1917 in premises of Town Council there arrived the armed group which was headed by one of leaders of Bolsheviks. Petakok, so the power in the city passed to councils. On May 26, 1918 one of divisions of the Czechoslovak Legion which lifted armed rebellion on Olive of the following after the events on May 14, 25 headed by the Captain Data overthrew the Soviet power in New Nikolaevsk, having occupied the city as a result of the unexpected military operation with participation of officers of a local anti-Bolshevist underground. At the same time in Tomsk the population overthrew provincial Bolshevist council and declared formation in the territory of Tomsk, Altai Tomsk to specify also the Yenisei Autonomous Republic of Provinces, the Siberian area. It is offered to them to direct the anti-monarchical university intellectuals under the chairmanship of Grigory Potanin. On May 28 in New Nikolaevsk there arrived the Colonel A.N. Christian Diamonds who announced the introduction in command of troops of the West Siberian Military District of the Republic Autonomous Siberia. Military authorities of New Nikolaevsk, leaders of Bolshevist City Council. Fyodor Gorbin, Fyodor Serebrennikov, Dmitry Polkovnikov, Alexander Petakok. On June 4, 1918 were shot without court and are secretly buried. Terror was directed against the Soviet power and the workers sympathizing it, peasants, employees. Arrests and executions happened every day according to in advance prepared lists made by an agency. Terror continued till December 1919 and was remembered by special atrocities from White Guards. Christian Diamonds demanded from subordinates in fight against enemies to be initiative and ruthless. On June 30, 1918 the West Siberian Commissariat delegated the powers of authority to the Provisional Siberian Government created from the Oblastnik led by P. 5. Delegatsky who arrived from Tomsk and Harbin. After that the Provisional Government moved to Omsk because New Nikolaevsk continued to remain under control of the Polish and Czech legionaries. The foreign military personnel also performed regular punitive operations against local population. More contemporaries negatively spoke of crimes of Poles. In November 1919 Autonomous Siberia fell, late fall troops of the 5th Army of the Red Army took Omsk, and in a month of army of the Siberian armies from Barnaul to Tomsk actually laid down arms. Tomsk and New Nikolaevsk fell in the 20th of December, 1919. After civil war in the spring of 1920 in New Nikolaevsk, epidemic of typhus and cholera is ferocious. The disease was carried from the European part of the country by refugees. The population of the city in August 1919 made nearly 130,000 people, and in 1920 already 67,000. The Soviet government created the Extraordinary Commission on Fight Against Typhus of Chekatiev. From Novosibirsk, diseases crept away on the province. Badly public institutions, including the railroad, worked, the population hungered. Visitors who remained because of idle time of trains here and asked food and a lodging for the night wandered about the city. In 1920 the surplus appropriation system going in severe conditions in villages of a forming part of the southwest of the Tomsk province causes an anti-Bolshevist revolt of peasants, the Siberian Vendy, which goes under the slogans of preservation of the Soviet power and socialist revolution, but without communists. In the risen areas communistic cells were completely destroyed. About 150 people, members of ROK B and members of National Militia of Kolivani, the center of a revolt, died. Risen form own armed forces and guerrilla groups. At the time in Novosibirsk there is no constant garrison of the Red Army, and protection of the city is organized by forces of staff of Cheka and National Militia. Parts of rebels occupied the station, adjacent to the city, Chik. Sibrek urgently evacuates all public and party institutions to Tomsk. The status of the capital of the province is returned to Tomsk. From Novosibirsk and Tomsk mines risen parts of Cheka and Shan. Groups of the armed party members and active Komsomol members are put forward. The revolt was cruelly suppressed. About 600 people were arrested, 250 active participants were sentenced to execution. To restore the major transport hub, a management of Vievek on June 13, 1921, by means of Sibrevkom decides to turn after all New Nikolaevsk into the new proletarian administrative and political center. In a part of territories of the Tomsk and Omsk provinces, the New Nikolaev province is formed. Here again is located Sibrek, here from Omsk all Siberian administrative structures of ROK B, including Soviet Siberia newspaper editorial office, are translated. And then, on May 25, 1925, Sibreki undertakes administrative reform in the territory of Siberia. The new administrative structure, Siberia, is created, with the center in New Nikolaevsk/Novosibirsk. This structure included the being Tomsk, Omsk, New Nikolaev, Altai and Yenisei provinces, and also the Orotsky autonomous region. The Soviet power in New Nikolaevsk was established at the end of January 1918, and then for the first time started talking about renaming of the city. After restoration of the Soviet power in December 1919, this issue started being discussed over again. Many options were offered. In December 1925, the First Regional Congress of Councils of Siberia resolved an issue of the new name of the city, and the Soviet Siberia newspaper of December 10, 1925 hasty writes about renaming of Novosibirsk into Novosibirsk. As officially the city was called New Nikolaevsk, in the resolution of Vievek on renaming of February 12, 1926 the error was corrected. New Nikolaevsk was renamed into Novosibirsk. However, as well as in the former name of the city, a hyphen in the name Novosibirsk didn't get accustomed in society and wasn't used. In the rank of the administrative center of the world's largest administrative and territorial unit, Novosibirsk begins to develop again. The city gets the nickname the Siberian Chicago, from an easy hand of the National Commissioner of Education of Novosibirsk, the academician Anatoly Lunacharsky, who in the late 20s visited Novosibirsk and so wrote down the impressions of visit of the city. 5 years ago Novosibirsk represented still, then today it is the original city which grew to the 200,000 capital and uncontrollably rushing forward as the real Siberian Chicago. In 1930 the Krivochakovsky settlement was renamed into Zabsky district and for the first time included in structure of the territory of the city of Novosibirsk, which till this time settled down only on the right side of Ob. On July 30 the same year the resolution of Vyevek of 14 districts of Siberia and the Uratsky Autonomous Region formed West Siberia with the center in Novosibirsk. In 1934 on construction of the Palace of Science and Culture, nowadays Opera and Ballet Theatre. The construction of the dome developed by the Moscow engineer B.F. Nateri came to the end. This dome lying on a support-reinforced concrete ring which, in turn, leans on the columns standing around was created as a unique monolithic reinforced concrete structure with a diameter of 55.5 m, with the wall thickness of 8 cs. The eggshell thickness relation to its diameter makes 1/250, and at Nateri's child this indicator was 1/750. The building of Opera Theatre becomes a symbol of modern Novosibirsk. In 1936 the largest then the enterprise of Novosibirsk, the Sibmish plant where Notropalka and Komsomol member pumps were issued, replaced a profile, the director and the name. It was transformed to the Enterprise of Aviation Industry No. 153, having become thus the plant on release of destructive aircraft. The matter is that the plant was created for Massachusetts production only of one model of the designer Nikolai Polikarpov I-16, which is considered the first ever serial high-speed low plane with the chassis which is cleaning up flight today. The plant which acquired the right to be called a name of Valery Kakalov in 1939. A -16 called Kakalov's plane, for what Kakalov tested and itself defended before Stalin as the ancestor of fighting aircraft of a new type. In days of the Great Patriotic War became one of the main suppliers of destructive aircraft. In 1944 Novosibirsk on the front was left by about 17 fighters in day, though more than a half working on Kakalovsk. The plant made 12, 14-year-old teenagers of suburban villages. They worked in the conditions of the most severe discipline for 700 grams of bread a day, such is the price of the motto regiment in day, with which Novosibirsk became history of World War II. On September 28, 1937 the Central Election Commission of the USSR approved the resolution of Vyevek on division of West Siberia into the Novosibirsk region with the center in Novosibirsk and Altai Krai with the center in Barnaul. Subsequently from the Novosibirsk region areas were allocated Kemerovo. On January 26, 1943, and Tomsk. On August 13, 1944. From August 21, 1943 to June 3, 1958 Novosibirsk was the independent administrative center with the special budget and belonged to the category of cities of Republican subordination Rusvers. On September 25, 1948 the confidential plant on release of uranium products which was called Enterprise No. ATO, the plant of chemical concentrates, is founded on the northern outskirts of Novosibirsk. The area adjoining him was named on terminology of the time Sotsgaruk for a specific mode of supply and a special attitude towards him from the authorities. 50. Various supervised the project. In 1951 on 80th box, the production of uranium which was melted in the open way at the beginning began. The idea of creation in Novosibirsk of the Siberian Office of Academy of Sciences of the USSR was realized in 1957 after the head of the country Nikita Khrushchev approved the plan of three largest Soviet scientists. Father of anti-tank cumulative shells Mikhail Lavrentiev, mathematician Sergei Sobolev and Sergei Kristyanovich physics mechanics. On the outskirts of Novosibirsk, according to these scientific figures, the campus was built. The evacuated population influenced not only development of science and art, but also on the general demographic situation. On September 2, 1962 in Novosibirsk, the million inhabitant was officially registered. In the 1968 years, the West Siberian Railway, under the leadership of her first chief N.P. Nikolsky, endured technological updating which many elements had revolutionary character. Locomotives and electric locomotives began to succeed engines. The modern system of passenger train traffic was born. In 1969 the local zoo, organized in 1947, was headed by the veterinary paramedic Rostislav Shile. In August 1972 Novosibirsk was visited by the Secretary General of the Central Committee of the CSU Leonid Brezhnev. In a conversation with him, the first secretary of the Novosibirsk Regional Committee of Party Fyodor Goryachev managed to prove need of the fastest construction of the Novosibirsk subway, the first in Siberia. During design of future construction, the chief project engineer S5 Sidenkoven, the engineer K.P. Vinogradov offered the bridge crossing through Obon 14 support. The birth of the longest metro bridge in the world so took place. On December 28, 1985 the Novosibirsk subway was accepted in operation by the State Commission, and on January 7, 1986 the subway officially opened the doors for passengers. On September 26, 1976 the former pilot who skyjacked the Novosibirsk Northern and -2 plane from airfield rammed on him a 5-floor house on Stebnoy Street, 43/1. 11 people died. On April 28, 1982 the decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of Rusfers on rewarding of Novosibirsk with the Order of Lenin is published, and in February 1990 Novosibirsk was given the status of the historic town as center of science and culture of Siberia. On April 6, 1987 the annual holiday, the City Day of Novosibirsk, is founded. Novosibirsk celebrated the very first City Day on October 4, 1987. This day was the coldest for all history of a holiday. Temperature fell to a 0 mark, the first snow dropped up. The next year the holiday was postponed for June. Since 1995 the City Day is officially celebrated last Sunday of June. In 1993 the first governor, head of administration, of the Novosibirsk region Vitaly Mucha was ousted by the decree of the Russian president for refusal to support his actions for dispersal of the Supreme Council of the Russian Federation. As well as the nearby cities, Novosibirsk in the mid-90s was in the Siberian Red Belt. On May 13, 2000, the decree of the Russian President Vladimir Putin formed Siberian Federal District, which center appointed Novosibirsk. In 2015 to Novosibirsk the honorary title, the City of Military and Labor Glory, is given. On July 2, 2020 to Novosibirsk the honorary title, the City of Labor Valor, is given. Geographical location. Novosibirsk is located in a southeast part of the West Siberian Plain, on both banks of the river Ob. Geographical coordinates of the city: 55 degrees of northern latitude, 83 degrees of east longitude. At this with such cities as Kaliningrad, Moscow, Chelyabinsk, Omsk are located. From the north on the south, from the Zaeltsovsky Park to Moscow Avenue, the city stretched for 43 kilometers, from the west on the east its extent equals to 25 kilometers. In the city 1941 streets, at the same time 493 streets carry names which meet only in Novosibirsk, which total length minus 1400 kilometers. Geological features of a city relief are characterized by the fact that the city and vicinities are located on the powerful Tverdoskolny base covered with thickness of sedimentary rocks. Clay, pebbles, sand. Fragments of the base of tectonic structure, the Tomkalevansky folded zone, come in places to a surface, which form a modern relief. In the second half of the Quaternary period in this territory the slow raising of crust proceeding and began now. Because of it in the city there can be earthquakes of small amplitude. Strong are excluded. Measuring 2-3 points on the Richter scale. The last earthquake was on March 19, 2013, insignificant, less than 2 points. The structure of the land surface is characterized by arrangement of Novosibirsk on Ob Plateau near the Ob River. A left bank part has a flat relief. The maximum height is in the area of Karl Marx Square minus 151 m. A right bank part in turn is cut up by a set of the beams and ravines relating to a peripheral part of Solar Ridge. The maximum height of a right bank minus 214 m. A large problem of Novosibirsk is the Overishny erosion occupying the territory about 2,000 hectares. In the metropolitan area of 150 large and small ravines which development is contributed by economic activity. Novosibirsk is in a continental climatic zone. The climate of the city is affected by his geographical location. As he is located to the east of Moscow on 3000 km and to the west of Ulaanbaatar on 2000 km, in its climate the severe continentality of the Asian continent is generally shown, though the softening influence of Atlantic is felt. The ravninost of the territory allows to extend freely both to cold waves from the north, and to heat waves from the southwest. In this regard both hard frosts and short-term thaw can be noted in the winter. Longitude of daylight at the latitude of Novosibirsk changes of 7 hours 9 minutes in the period of a winter solstice. Near on December 21. Till 17 hours 23 minutes in the period of a summer solstice. Near on June 21. The average duration of sunshine in a year is 2088 hours. For comparison, in Kazan minus 1916 hours, in Moscow located at the same width, only 1568 hours. However, there are considerable aberrations. 2011, when the total of hours of sunshine made 2308 was abnormally solar. 1972 was the cloudiest -1691 hour. The minimum values of sunshine drop out for the period from November to January, maximum for June and July. During 1966-2013 average annual air temperature in Novosibirsk was +1.3 C. Big fluctuations average monthly 38 C. An absolute 90 C. Air temperatures are characteristic of the city. Average monthly air temperature of January is equal to 17.7 C. Average July temperature -19.3 C. The absolute minimum was recorded on January 9, 1915, 51.1 C. An absolute maximum on July 12, 2014, 41.1 C. For Novosibirsk as large city, such phenomenon as formation of the island of heat, wind temperature in his territory is 1.4 C higher in comparison with the adjacent territory is characteristic. In the spring urban areas get warm quicker, and in the summer of temperature in the city it is 0.7 C above. The average annual amount of precipitation makes 460. The annual sums are formed generally at the expense of rainfall of the warm period. The Atlantic air reaches Novosibirsk much dried up, or it contains not enough moisture, tropical, from regions of the Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean, gets on the territory of the city seldom, therefore the total number of rainfall in Novosibirsk is much lower in comparison with Kazan. For 30%. And Moscow. For 60%. Located at the same width. The minimum of rainfall fall on February, March 17. The maximum value falls on July -63. The maximum height of snow cover usually doesn't exceed 80 cs. The climatic spring in Novosibirsk usually begins in the end of March. Approximately in 3 weeks destruction of steady snow cover begins. Duration of spring is 70-75 days. She is characterized by abundance of sunlight, instability of weather, with an average temperature of 6.8 C. Spring rainfall averages 13.8% of annual quantity. In April 20 form of rainfall, in May -35 dropout on average. Winds of the southern direction, a semi-clear condition of the sky prevail. The climatic summer begins usually on June 1, and comes to an end at the end of August. Duration of summer, about 90 days. Warmest summer month July. 19.4 C. It is the only month during which negative air temperatures were never recorded. Average temperature of summer is 17.5 C. During the summer period relative air humidity increases, reaching 74% in August. The dryness periods are very rare. On average no more than 5 days in July and no more than 1 day in other months. Summer months are characterized by the raised amount of precipitation. 41.3% of annual quantity. The southern winds prevail. The climatic fall comes at the very end of August, 75-80 days last, coming to an end in the middle of November. Average temperature is equal to 6.2 C and strongly falls of a month by a month. of August by September on 6C, of September by October, almost on 8C. During the fall, a team of rainfall in the form of rains and snow on average drop out. In general for the fall about 28 rainy days, with firm rainfall -10 days, mixed -7 fall. The southern, southwest and western winds prevail. The so-called period of Indian summer wind dry and warm weather is established as characteristic of the end of September. During this period in night and morning hours already cool, but daytime temperatures reach 20–25 C. The climatic winter in Novosibirsk comes in the middle of November, and comes to an end in the middle end of March. 120–130 days last. The middle of November is characterized by formation of steady snow cover which lies all winter. 3 central winter months. December, February. At average air temperature about and below 15 C, and the coldest month, January. 16.5 C. Boundary months. November and March are twice warmer. The southern and southwest winds prevail. Novosibirsk is in hour zone +4. Shift of the applied time concerning Utes is +700. According to the applied time and geographical longitude, average solar midday in Novosibirsk comes at 13:28. In 1924–1956 the official border between the 5th and 6th time zones passed on a left bank of Ob at distance about 10 km from the river and crossed the railroad between the former stations of Domodedovo. Nowadays the city of Ob. It was the 5th belt and Krivoshekovo. The 6th belt. Since March 1, 1957 border of the 6th time zone where time of Mc +4. Utes +7. Was applied, began to pass on the western border of the Novosibirsk region. Since May 23, 1993 the Novosibirsk region passed to Mc +3 time. During the summer period instead of Utes +8 Utes +7 time began to work. In winter, instead of Utes +7 Utes +6 began to work. From March 27, 2011 to October 25, 2014 in Novosibirsk Utes +7 time, and from October 26, 2014 to July 23, 2016, Utes +6 constantly worked. The difference with Moscow made 3 hours. On July 24, 2016 the Novosibirsk region returned to the hour zone Mc +4. Utes +7. Through Novosibirsk, one of the largest rivers of the world, Ob, the typical flat river flows. Its width in city boundaries is 750–850 m, and depth to 3 m and more. Freezes usually in November, and it is opened at the beginning of May. However, her water mode is regulated by dumping of water from a reservoir. Below a dam of the Novosibirsk hydroelectric power station, the ice hole 20–30 km long is observed in the winter. Within the city, the largest right inflow of Ob, the Inya River. Other inflows also. In the first, Iltsovka, the second, Zuryanka, Kamenka, Iltsovka, Plashchika, Tula, Pashenka within the city of Amalkovadna are also significantly polluted by Kamenka, 24 km long, originates near the settlement Lenin in the territory of the Novosibirsk district. Falls into Ob near the old railway bridge. In the territory of the city, the river is cleaned in a reinforced concrete collector about 5 km long, and her course is washed away by sand. Plyshchika, 12 km long, falls into the Yinya River. Iltsovka the first, the shortest of all water city facilities. Its extent -6.5 km. The catchment basin is completely located within the city. Tula proceeds in a left bank part of Novosibirsk and is the most polluted river of the city. The main pollutants, the largest city enterprises. Iltsovka II proceeds across the territory of the Kalinin, Zailtsovsky districts in a northeast part of Novosibirsk. From the south, the city is adjoined by the Novosibirsk Reservoir. The Alp Sea. Created in 1957. Its area is 1070 km, the maximum width of 18 km, length -185 km, the largest depth -25 m. The freeze up and opening of a reservoir steps on 1-2 weeks later than on the Ob River. Ice thickness on a reservoir reaches sometimes 100-150 cs. In the summer, water gets warm up to 20-23 degrees. Existence of the large river, with the wide valley cutting the city on 2 parts, in many respects predetermined the nature of development and use of the territory and created a problem of coherence of parts of the city. The insufficient number of bridges and their capacity characterize the general condition of backwardness of transport infrastructure of Novosibirsk. The coat of arms represents a heraldic board, in the green and silver field of which man at the left, the azure left sling on the right, bordered with silver, and over everything, the thread-like belt terminated by a sling enclosed by the golden half ring annexed from above. The stylized image of the bridge through Ob. The board is topped with a gold tower crown, about 5 visible 3-pointed teeth. Shatar Sateli, black, a sable with dark red. Languages, silver noses, throats and claws. Ears of sables inside 2 silver. The bottom, a Prosecchini green, azure and silver tape with the silver thread dividing greens and an azure. In the middle on the bottom, dark red onions over 2 black, with dark red tips and plumage, the overturned arrows. The black silvery thin belt on a board of the coat of arms symbolizes the Trans-Siberian Railway line. The quantity of teeth on a crown defines the status of the settlement, emphasizing that Novosibirsk, the regional center. Sables, onions and arrows are borrowed from the historical coat of arms of Siberia. The flag of the city of Novosibirsk represents the panel divided on diagonal from right top in the left bottom corner by a blue sling with white waves. The left top field of a flag green. The right nizhny polya of a flag white. Colors of a flag are borrowed from the city coat of arms and mean. The green field, health, natural wealth of Siberia, the white field, purity and snow of Siberia. A blue sling with white waves, the Ob River on which there is a city. The flag width relation to its length makes 2:3. Besides, the flag option, a so-called national flag, can be used. Differs from official in the fact that in the top right corner the city coat of arms is located. Northern Novosibirsk is divided into 10 administrative regions in which historically conditionally allocate massiva, residential districts and settlements within the city. And these conditional educations can be at the same time in the territory of several administrative regions. For example, the Silent Center is in Железнodorожный in Central District, and the Gold Field in Oktober and Dzerzhinsk. In 1938 the city line within which the square of the city made 351.7 km was established. In 1959 in connection with construction of the campus the territory of the city was expanded to 476.9 km. The modern territory of the city consists of actually Novosibirsk, 492.94 km. And also located to the north from the city of the industrial residential area of Pashino of 12.68 km, which is territorially not connected with the main part of the urban area. The master plan of Novosibirsk till 2030 provides increase in the territory of the city up to 635.5 km. Its outward direction with inclusion and structure of Novosibirsk of the settlement of Krasnoyarsk and a number of rural territories, therefore left bank parts of Kirovsky district and the area left Chioma will connect will be the primary directions of growth of the territory of the city. The north, therefore, the territories now separating the region of Pashino from Novosibirsk will be a part of the city, will be other main direction of territorial expansion of the city, and Pashino will merge with Novosibirsk. Novosibirsk is the third most populated city of Russia. The million resident was born on September 2, 1962. Novosibirsk in the 21st century became the first of the Russian cities, after Moscow and St. Petersburg, which exceeded Polutramormony value of population. Due to pendular migration from suburbs, the population of Novosibirsk grows not less than on 100,000 people in the afternoon. In recent years the population of Novosibirsk steadily increases also due to growth of the international migration with the state parties of the CIS and also growth of inter-regional migration. Stable increase in birth rate and decline in mortality is in recent years observed. The birth rate -13.2, mortality -12.3, marriages -9.6, stains -5.0. On 1,000 people of the population. Novosibirsk remains the center of gravity of migrants from Siberia, Kazakhstan and Central Asia. Migration inflow and natural increase of the population allowed Novosibirsk to step over a mark of 1.5 million people in the I-quarter 2012. Age structure. The population is younger than working age -196.8 thousand demand, 14.0%. From them children at the age of 6 years -85.9 thousand demand, 6.1%. Working age population -899.0 thousand demand, 63.8%. The population is more senior than working age -313.3 thousand demand, 22.2%. Sex composition. Men -746,817 thousand demand, 45.3%. Women -878,814 thousand demand, 54.7%. At various nationalities living in Novosibirsk, serious differences in the ratio of floors are observed. So at Russians 81 men, at Ukrainians -87, at Tatars -86, at Germans -90 are the share of 100 women. At the same time, at Uzbeks 360 men, at Tajiks -469, Chinese -640, at Turks -2060 are the share of 100 women. Marriages and stains. The number of the marriage alliances concluded in 2020 are higher than the number of the dissolved marriage. Such information the local office of department provided Rostat. The first quarter 2020, in the territory of the Area 3188 marriage alliances are concluded. 2019 marriage are dissolved. Therefore, 63 divorces are the share of 100 marriages. Such situation is traced across Siberia. The city is divided into 10 administrative regions. Dzerzhinsky Railway, Zaeltsovsky, Kalinin, Kirov, Lenin, October, Mayday, Soviet, Central. In areas allocate inhabited massifs, residential districts, internal settlements. The number of streets -1941. Total number of inhabitants on areas is distributed unevenly. The most numerous is Lenin -302,803 citizens live. The second place, October -225,879 inhabitants. On the third place, Kalinin -200,694. The most sparsely populated area, Railway, total 64972 citizens. Migration. Together with natural increase, the level of migration flows decreases. In Novosibirsk for 2019 there were 45503 arrived. Left -32454. Migration gain was 13049. 2020 indicators worsened. The number of the arrived people made 24075, left -22039. Gain is 2036. Contrary to positive value of parameter, obviously noticeable decrease. Considerable part of inflow of the population is provided by intra-regional migration, migration of citizens of the member countries of the Commonwealth of Independent States. The analysis of the obtained data lets know that, obviously, the situation is significantly more favorable than in other regions of the Russian Federation. However, indicators gradually fall. According to official forecasts of Rostat, the number of permanent residents of Siberian Federal District will constantly increase till 2021. Later will begin to decrease. 2031, the increase of 15% to the number of permanent residents is expected. Main article. Novosibirsk agglomeration. The Novosibirsk agglomeration, the seventh largest agglomeration of Russia, her population for 2010, according to the government of the Russian Federation, made 1,997,000 people. According to scientists, the population for 2017 made 2,084,400 thousand people. Depending on a formation stage, agglomeration is referred to group developed. The Novosibirsk agglomeration is the most significant in a regional center of social and economic development and an attraction for all macro-region Siberia. The Novosibirsk agglomeration includes the cities of Berdsk, Ob, Koltsovo, the urban-type settlement of Krasnutsk, the next to the city of the village of the Novosibirsk district. The first belt. The second belt includes Iskatim, the Novosibirsk district and parts of adjacent rural areas. In total, in the territory of agglomeration, there are 5 city districts and 7 municipal districts, which part 10 city settlements, 110 rural settlements, 457 rural settlements are. The total area of agglomeration is 36.86 thousand km, or 21% of Novosibirsk region square. Economy. Novosibirsk is one of the advanced Russian cities on development of economy. Refer his appeal to advantages of the city as macroregional center of Siberia and post-industrial type of development. Distinctive feature of city economy is its diversification. Lack of monopolies, active development of small and average business, existence of many industries. After the period of strong economic downturn of the 1990s, Novosibirsk became the large redistribution center of pan-umbrel import that led to growth of employment in small business and the service sector. During economic growth of the old development of the city as center of services and food import substitution accelerated. According to a research of the economical geographer Natalia Zubrovich, at the present stage Novosibirsk practically lost industrial specialization, developing in exchange the service sector, transport, logistics and science. On economy volume, Novosibirsk is among the largest world economic centers. The research organization McKinsey Global Institute in 2010 included it in the list of 600 largest cities of the world, producing 60% of global GDP. According to researchers of the company, the gross product of Novosibirsk made $15 billion. $15,000 on one inhabitant. According to a research of Institute of City Economy Fund, in 2015 the gross city product of the Novosibirsk agglomeration made $58 billion international dollars. The third place over the country. At $21.6 thousand international dollars in terms of one inhabitant of agglomeration. In the rating of the first in urban economics, the capitals of regions of Russia for 2015, Novosibirsk took the 5th place. The gross city product of the city made 748 billion rubles. Per capita EGV made 483.2 thousand rubles. The 36th place. The city concentrates more than 55% of the population of the Novosibirsk region. At the same time, his contribution to VRP of area makes more than 70%. In Novosibirsk, most the largest companies of the Novosibirsk region in all sectors of economy is concentrated. Trade, transport and logistics, industry, banking sector, power, construction, information technologies, housing and communal services, geological exploration. The average annual number of employees of the organizations is 421.2 thousand people. According to Novosibirsk, as of July 1, 2017 in Novosibirsk the number of the enterprises was, and individual entrepreneurs is registered 47141 persons. According to ROB in 2008 Novosibirsk took the 3rd place in the list of the cities of Russia most attractive to business. In 2007, the 13th place. Novosibirsk is one of the largest industrial centers of Western Siberia. Ultra-high concentration of industrial production is characteristic of him. 3/4 of all industrial output of the Novosibirsk region are made in the city. The Institute of Territorial Planning of Urbanic in 2013 estimated the total amount of industrial production of the city at 158 3 billion rubles, having placed Novosibirsk on the 43rd place in the rating of the industrial cities of Russia. The basis of the industrial sector of the city is made by about 230 large and medium-sized, generally high-tech enterprises. The leading industries are the power, gas supply, water supply, metallurgy, metalworking, mechanical engineering. 94% of all industrial production of the city fall to their share. The largest industrial companies of the city are Regional Electrical Networks, Novosibirsk Chemical Concentrates Plant, the Atomic Industry, the Siberian Food Company, plant of semi-finished products, Siberian Gourmet, the Proxima Company, Oktyabrskaya Poultry Farm, DXV Novosibirsk. Food Industry. The Novosibirsk Switch Plant, ALSIP, Scientific Research Institute of Measuring Devices, the Novosibirsk Plant of Komintern. Mechanical Engineering, Radio Engineering. The Novosibirsk Instrument Making Plant. Mechanical Engineering. Novosibirsk Metallurgical Plant named after Kuzmin. Ferrous Metallurgy. The Ferrum Plant. Ferrous Metallurgy. Military Industrial Complex Oil, Sibir. The Chemical and Petrochemical Industry. The Ekran Plant. The Glass Industry. Gazprom Marijingas Novosibirsk. Distribution and selling of gas. The consumer market contributes significantly to the economy of Novosibirsk, occupying one of the leading places in its industry structure. The retail chain stores of the city contain more than 8.5 thousand enterprises, including 4.1 thousand stationary objects of retail trade, 3.2 thousand small retail objects and 9 markets. Security of the population with floor spaces makes 1850 on 1,000 inhabitants. Retail trade turnover for 2016 was 278,365.3 million rubles. Novosibirsk is one of the centers of wholesale trade, largest in the country, with the developed logistic infrastructure. In 12 kilometers from the city, the industrial and logistic park with a total area of 2,000 hectares is created. Other large companies of the city in the field of retailer: East Equipment, Trading, Capital Company, War Center, Naftatrans Plus Fuel Company, Jabu Uralsibtrade Siberian Region, Metal Service Siberia, Obov Rosai Group, Tiet Minsk Tractor Plant Siberia, Kolorlan Company, Sibpromsnab, Rich Family V, Novosibirsk Satellite Navigation System, Novosibirsk Pharmacy Chain, Novosibirsk Perfume, Electricomplot Service Company, Deans Delta Novosibirsk, Alpha of Retail Company, Sibmeznab. Novosibirsk Fuel Corporation, Agrotrak Himitol, Mass Novosibirsk, New World, Megatorp. Bistron. Gazpromneft Terminal, S Systema Complex, Lucky Star, Sitrakskan, Pryaskali Siberia, Sarmation. The Royal Park Shopping Center in 2008 is recognized by the best large shopping center of Russia. Also in Novosibirsk there is the largest shopping center beyond the Urals of Ora Shopping Center, which treats super-regional shopping centers. It was constructed on March 18, 2011. Its total area is more than 150,000 square meters. Total investment exceeds 150 million euros. The shopping center was constructed by the Turkish company, Renaissance Development. Anchor tenants of shopping center are the Oki Hypermarket and Formula of Cinema with Entertainment Center of Cosmic. Besides Ora in the city mega with a total area of 130,000 treats super-regional shopping centers, IKEA, hypermarkets Leroy Merlin and Auchan, Novosibirsk Gallery, with a total area of 125,000 m act as anchor tenants of shopping center. Numerous food supermarkets, including network and also large specialized shopping centers selling non-foods work in the city. Furniture, clothes, construction and finishing materials, etc. Large shopping centers of the city. Over 100 shops, according to the electronic reference book 2GIS. Big Dipper, Aura, Novosibirsk Gallery, Mega, Royal Park, the Siberian Mall, Versailles, Continent. On trolley. Jupiter, Moscow, Kaleidoscope, Olympia, Sun City, European. Hypermarkets. Magnet. OK. Auchan. Metro Cash and Carry. Tape. Network supermarkets. Large networks. Magnet Pitaraka, more brightly, Maria Ra. 94. Siberiad. 23. Leader of economy. 18. Bistron. 11. More than 30 car centers and motor shows of Novosibirsk submit all main automobile brands of the world, including Alfa Romeo, Bentley, Infiniti, Porsche. Novosibirsk, the largest transport hub of Siberia. Passed through the Trans-Siberian Railway, iron and highways. In Novosibirsk, management of West Siberian Railway is located. Novosibirsk connects Siberia, the Far East, Central Asia with the European regions of Russia. Human and trade streams substantially contribute to development of the city. Novosibirsk is also river port. Crossing of water and landways became an additional factor of growth of the city. The river port is in close proximity to the bridge through Arbin-Jelezno-Dorozhny district of the city. In Novosibirsk till 2019 there was a management of the West Siberian River Shipping Company. Navigation on Ob consists of transportation of transit freights on a long distance and extraction of sand. Regular passenger traffic is made along a route Novosibirsk. River Station. The island of Kudryashk, Buri, Cherymashki, the new town, Bibik, Sadovo, the small settlement. Tourist river routes exist only to Tomsk and by the Ob Sea to Zavielovo now. Passenger ships go from the building of the Novosibirsk River Station built on the project of architects A. Volevik by A. Zakharov M.M. Pirogovin accepted in operation in 1974. Owing to the event on March 7, 2003 of the strong fire, the part of the building sustained strong damage and was recognized not subject to restoration. After the carried out reconstruction, the building of the river station began to be used as usual business center, and ticket offices were placed directly on the adjacent mooring. Railway transport. Novosibirsk is the large railway junction. He is obliged by the birth to construction of the Trans-Siberian Railway in 1893. Today, except the Trans-Siberian Railway in Novosibirsk, the railroads Altai. Turksib, the movement is opened in 1913. and Kuzbas. It is constructed in the 1930th. The directions meet. In the territory of Novosibirsk there are 2 railway bridges through the Ob River. The first railway bridge through Ob, Kimovsky Railway Bridge. Also there is a railway bridge through the Yinya River. In the territory of the city there are 7 large railway stations making freight and passenger traffic. Novosibirsk Main Station, Novosibirsk Yushny Station, Novosibirsk Western Station, Novosibirsk Metro Bridge at Sunset, Novosibirsk East Station, Inskaya Station, Siberian Station, Sour Station. Also within the city are several cargo station and passenger stopping points. In close proximity to the city there are also Yin East and Rechkanovsk stations. The railway station of the station Novosibirsk Main, one of the largest in the country, is also an architectural site of the city. According to a plan of authors of the project, his building reproduces a form of the ancient engine. The network of stopping platforms of local trains contains over 4 tens in the city and the next suburbs, including which are actually not used by Chemska and the 13th kilometer. Electric trains go from the station Novosibirsk Main. There is a project of the organization of the city electric train from the Inskaya station to the station Novosibirsk Main through the left bank districts of Novosibirsk, using the operating Chemskaya and Kleshchik stations for improvement of transport service of the new constructed Zhilmassiv. Till 90th years of the last century this direction was used for passenger traffic along a route of Inskaya Istrovaya, but in connection with the wrong schedule and decline of work of the industrial enterprises passenger traffic was cancelled and platforms are liquidated. Motor transport. In the city there are 3 automobile bridges through Ob. Dmitrovsky, Oktober, Begrinsky. An additional crossing through a dam of Objes. Construction of the 4th bridge in an alignment of streets at Podromsky and station is conducted. In the Novosibirsk district the settlement of Machish has Severny Bridge through Ob. He is used by transit transport and residents of Novosibirsk for departure from the city. Within the city 2 large automobile bridges through the Yinya River are located. The transport situation of Novosibirsk is complicated by the shortage of bridges, overpasses over the railroads, multi-level traffic intersections, and detours for transit transport. Till 1991 multi-level interchanges were constructed only on approaches to the bridges built by then through Ob, but only on the right coast. At construction of the Ipodromsky Highway in different levels her crossings with the main streets were made. On all these outcomes traffic lights owing to an overload by transport or imperfections of their organization are used. At the end of the odd years 2 outcomes on Birdskoy Highway near the bridge through the Yinya River are constructed. They provided easy turn to Pervomaysky district and on the Kluch-Komishensky plateau. At the beginning of the 2010 years the platform, the doubler of Krasny Avenue over the square which received a name of the engineer Budagov is completed. The constructed platform didn't solve a problem of traffic jams on the cold square at all. In 2014 together with Begrinsky Bridge the outcomes connecting the bridge to Vatutin streets and Bolshevist are entered. Other outcomes are behind borders of the city or are constructed for providing an entrance to shopping centers. The city is cut by the large railroads, but on crossings with railway tracks not enough overpasses are constructed. The main highways pass along industrial zones and have a set of single-level moving including equipped with a barrier. Stantsiania Street is crossed by the railroads in 5 places. The direction Bogdan-Khmelnytskaya Vostochnoy Highway also has 5 moving. Strong traffic jams are formed on entry into the city on Karavaya Street in the place of crossing by its branch to a pit of Machish. In Leninsky district, crossing by motor transport of the passenger course of the Trans-Siberian Railway is complicated. 2 crossings single level. Concrete moving and Port-Artursky moving. And the tunnel underways on Truda Square is overloaded. On the right coast in a similar situation there is Pervomaysky district. The first entry into the area narrow, twisting, is also clamped between Innis Coast and platforms of the station of Yinsouthern. The second entrance on Odovsky Street is executed in one level with the railroad. Matvevsky moving. All moving through the large railroads are near the largest city highways, Shirokaya Street and Birdskoy Highway. At the time of closing of moving of line of cars gather on highways that provokes traffic jams. 2 crossings of the Altai branch and 1 crossing of the Trans-Siberian Railway are laid on the river bank under the railway bridge with formation of a loop on the road. Such crossing near Hiloksky and Trolley Streets, undergoing under the bridge through the small river Tula, has the name mother-in-law's language in the people and it is known the high level of accident rate. Roundabout ways of the city for transit transport are constructed only on the northern outskirts of the city. The northern round of the city stretched from the village of Prokotskoye to the village of Sokar, including Severny Bridge through Oblast to travel over Novosibirsk when following in transit from Omsk to Kemerovo and back. At the movement on other directions transit transport follows on city streets. At coincidence of peak hours and snowfall loaded road trains can't overcome rises at a low speed, slip and create traffic jams. East round which is planned from the Machish station. From an junction to the northern round. To Iskatim. Where he will adjoin the Chuya path. Is under construction now. Building of Southwest Transit is planned after completion of East Round. According to the project, it will be the Intracity Highway which will become development of approaches to Bagrinsky Bridge in both parties. It will pass from Hilikskaya Street across the floodplain of the river of Tula, and after Bagrinsky Bridge will cross Bolsheviskaya Street. The railroad, Kirov Street, will reach the Klitschko-Myshensky Plateau and there will connect to East Round. Since 1964 the only bus station in the city which in 2006 was conceived to be reconstructed worked in the downtown, at the beginning of Krasny Avenue, but reconstruction didn't manage to be completed within 15 years. In the second decade of the 21st century the concept of long-distance bus traffic in Novosibirsk is changed. Instead of one bus station in the downtown, opening of bus stations in transport hubs and on the outskirts of the city with stable transport communication among themselves and with the downtown is planned. Yugozapadnaya bus stations on Stanislavsky Street, Hilikskaya on Hilikskaya Street, and Railway of Vokzal at Garin Mikhailovsky Square are organized. At bus stations sale of tickets, landing and disembarkation of passengers is organized, schedules of the suburban and passing Eros city buses are hung out, waiting rooms in the rooms protected from bad weather are organized. They differ from bus stations in the sizes, lack of some services and the fact that don't form own flights. All buses that go in transit or after departure surely come on bus station. Gradually some of these stations will be replaced with capital bus stations. A new bus station on Gostinobrodskoy Highway, which received the name Main, is open on December 21, 2019. Old bus station, having worked 3 months as bus station, it is finally closed on April 6, 2020. Air transportation. Novosibirsk services the international airport Tolmachevo, the first in passenger traffic in an Asian part of Russia. The airport is on crossing of a large number of the airlines going from Southeast Asia to Europe and from North America to Asia. Till 2011 one more airport, Novosibirsk Northern, which was within the city, worked. In August 2008 in the airport there took place the Aerobatics World Cup by Yak-52 planes. City public transport. In 2018 in Novosibirsk 4 trolleybus and 2 tram depots. All are united in MKE Korlik Transport. 2 municipal enterprises of passenger motor transport, the set of the private motor transportation enterprises, and 1 enterprise making river passenger traffic within city line work. Extent of lines of the tram is 165 km, the trolleybus -267 km. According to official figures, 11 tram and 14 trolleybus routes work in the city. It is interesting that after removal in 1992 of rails from communal bridge left bank and right bank networks of the tram aren't reported among themselves. In 2006 volumes of transportations of the Novosibirsk city transport were about 430 million passengers of them. The subway -70 million passengers. Land public transport -192 million passengers, including the tram about 45 million. Not public bus public transport -168 million passengers. The bus works in the city since July 1923. The tram works in the city since November 26, 1934. Now in Novosibirsk 11 routes of the tram which are served 2 depots work. Left bank. Before Association in 2000, Lenin Depot and the Kirov Depot. And right bank. Before Association in 2001, the Dzerzhinsk Depot and October Depot. The trolleybus works in the city since November 6, 1957. Since 1984 operation of trolleybus trains of 2 Zu-682 cars working on Vladimir Veklik system began. After Leningrad, Novosibirsk became the USSR's second city by the number of the used trains from Zu-682 trolleybuses. In Novosibirsk during navigation the river bus works. Now 2 routes of the river bus work. The river station, Aquapark, the river station, the Bagrinsky Beach, the island, the ship. The navigation period, as a rule, opens at the end of April or at the beginning of May and is closed at the end of September or at the beginning of October. Routes are carried out on river Moscow crafts. Novosibirsk, the first and still only city in Siberia in which the subway was started up. On December 28, 1985. Now 2 of his lines consisting of 13 stations work. The covered Novosibirsk metro bridge through Ob, which length together with coastal platforms exceeds 2 kilometers, that is a world record, is well known. On October 7, 2010 the 13th Goldfield station is open. Taxi. Services of the taxi transport passengers across Novosibirsk and its suburbs. For 2021, even the international operators transport both local and federal and. The Novosibirsk taxi is presented by the Grand Car Company. They are competed by aggregators, Yandex, Uber, Get, Citymobile, the taxi, Contactee, and Driver. Are transported mainly on cause of foreign production, isn't more senior than 1997. The new type of public city transport which appeared in Novosibirsk rather recently. Operators provide for rent both cars and electroscooters. At the same time, for use of electroscooters the driving license isn't required. Services of car rental are presented by Delamobile Services and Cars 7, services of a hire of scooters Whoosh and Urine Services. In the city, all mobile operators of standard 2G/3G/4G work. Pisk Mobile Telesystems. Pisk Vimpel Communicatie. Pisk Megaphone, including virtual operator Yota. Pisk Cross Telecom, represented by NLST Arat holding subsidiary with preservation of the Trade Tele brand. Science and education. The world popularity to Novosibirsk was brought by the campus. The Novosibirsk Scientific Center of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences, in the territory of which tens of research institutes. Novosibirsk State University, Physical and Mathematical School ANU, the highest college of informatics of ANU are located. Near Novosibirsk, in the science city of Koltsovo, there is the State Scientific Center of Virology and Biotechnology, Vector. In the settlement of Krasnubsk, the Siberian office of the Russian Academy of Agricultural Sciences is located. In total in Novosibirsk 28 higher educational institutions, 13 universities, 3 academies, 12 institutes, including, are available branches of higher education institutions of other cities of Russia. Moscow, Street. Petersburg, Tomsk. The largest higher education institution is the Novosibirsk State Technical University, NSTU, in which more than 13,000 students study. In addition, in the city there are 30 schools, 22 colleges, 12 technical schools. Culture. One of cultural sites of Novosibirsk are theaters, among which the Opera Theater, which became one of symbols of Novosibirsk, is considered the most known. His building was under construction from 1938 years, is finished in 1945 and is the largest in Russia. In 2004-2005 he underwent large-scale reconstruction. List of theaters of the city. Novosibirsk State Academic Opera and Ballet Theater. Novosibirsk State Drama Theater, Old House. Novosibirsk Academic Youth Theater, Globus. Novosibirsk State Academic Drama Theater, Red Torch. The Novosibirsk City Drama Theater under the leadership of Sergei Afanasyev. Novosibirsk City Drama Theater, on the left coast. Novosibirsk Theater of the Musical Comedy. Novosibirsk Regional Puppet Theater. Philharmonic Halls. The Novosibirsk State Philharmonic Hall uses 2 main halls. The State Concert Hall of Arnold Katz. Chamber Hall of Philharmonic Hall. Lenin's House. The Philharmonic Hall also gives concerts in the House of Scientists of the Novosibirsk campus and a number of palaces of culture. Festivals. In Novosibirsk annually there takes place a large number of festivals. From May 16 to May 21, 2008 in Novosibirsk played the 7 Youth Delphic Games of Russia in Family Our Future. The families devoted 2-year games were held by National Delphic Council of Russia under patronage of the International Delphic Committee. The 12th Youth Delphic Games of Russia took place in Novosibirsk from May 16 to May 21, 2013. Within the cultural project, the Delphic Novosibirsk-2013, for the first time in parallel played Youth Delphic Games of Russia and the 8 Open Youth Delphic Games of the state parties of the CISIS. Games took place under patronage of the International Delphic Committee and under the auspices of Commission of the Russian Federation for UNESCO. Movie theaters. In the city more than 20 operating movie theaters, the oldest of which are Movie Theater of 5. Mayakovsky, 1923, was called earlier Ruskino and Sovkino. Victory, 1926, Prolyutkino and October. Aurora, Horizon. There are halls with support of three-dimensional films. In this city the Cinema Park Movie Theater works with the IMAX and IMAX Hall and also movie theaters with support of technology 4D. 2 planetaria work in the city. Planetary Educational Scientific Center at the Siberian State University of Geosystems and Technologies. The big Novosibirsk Planetarium on the Klyuch-Komishensky Plateau which opened in 2012. Zoo. It is possible to carry the Novosibirsk Zoo located in the territory of the Zailtsovsky Forest Park to cultural sites of the city. The arrangement in the territory of a pinery is a unique case among all zoos of the world. He contains about 1,000 individuals of 702 animal species. More than 300 types are included in the International Red List, the Red List of Russia and the Novosibirsk region. Animals are held in spacious open-air cages and often give posterity. In a zoo one of the collections, richest in the world, cats and Kunitsia brasny is collected. Some types are gull, lions and some other. Don't contain more in one of zoos of Russia and the CISIS. There are no individuals of the Caucasian leopard in one zoo of the world except Novosibirsk. Separately it is necessary to tell about a ligre, a rare hybrid of a lion and tigress. Novosibirsk State Art Museum. It is founded in 1957, earlier Novosibirsk Art Gallery. Contains extensive collection of paintings, schedules, and iconography, a sculpture, arts and crafts and casting. The Novosibirsk State Museum of Local Lore. It is founded in 1920. Has 2 expositions: historical address, Krasny Avenue, 23, and naturalists. The address, Station Highway, 11. The historical exposition is in the center of Novosibirsk and occupies one of the oldest buildings of the city. Here the original archaeological and ethnographic objects illustrating life of indigenous people of Siberia and the Russian Staroshelchesky population are placed. The southern hall is devoted to the history of the city of New Nikolaevsk. Novosibirsk. In Department of the Nature of the Museum, collections of minerals, fauna and flora of the Novosibirsk region are collected. The unique exhibit, the full skeleton of a mammoth found in Kokonyavsky district of the Novosibirsk region, is presented to expositions. The Museum of the Cossack Glory opened in Novosibirsk on August 17, 2007. Elements of the Cossack life and way, traditional Cossack army ammunition, clothes and arms, documentary photographs about activity of the Cossacks, historical Cossack awards and awards of the soldiers who died in local wars are presented to expositions. The Novosibirsk Museum of Railway Equipment of N.A. Ekilinin is located between the SOR of the railroad Novosibirsk, Berdsk and Berdsk station of the highway, the leader from the center of Novosibirsk to the campus, and treats West Siberian Railway. In the museum the big collection of the engines, locomotives, electric locomotives and cars which were generally working at the railroads of Western Siberia is collected. Besides, in a collection of the museum there is an automobile part. There are Soviet Kozgaz, Moskvich, Zaz of different years of release and also several trucks, tractors and all-terrain vehicles. The museum, Siberian Birch Bark, was opened on June 27, 2002 in the architecture monument located at the address M. Gorkogo Street. 16. Handiworks from birch bark of modern Siberian artists and masters decorate an interior of the old house. N.K. Rurik's Museum. The building is put in operation and solemnly openly on October 7, 2007 with raising of the banner of peace. On the eve of Day of Sergei of Rodin is on October 8 and Culture Day, the birthday of N.K. Rurik on October. In the territory of the museum the arch with the world bell is established. Museum of the Sun is officially registered in 2000, actually functions since 1994. In an exposition, an illustration of ethnic traditions of the image of the sun and the solar system, the image of gods and symbols of the sun in rock paintings of the ancient people, the original products of masters of applied creativity devoted to solar subject. The Historical and Architectural Museum under the open sky. In the museum unique monuments of wooden architecture and the culture of Siberia are presented. The Siberian Memorial Art Gallery, the Art and Memorial Museum in the city of Novosibirsk. The subject of the museum is devoted to a feat of the Soviet people in the Great Patriotic War, 1941-1945. The Museum of the Retro Equipment is located at the beginning of Makishinskoye Highway, opened in 2020. About 60 pieces of equipment, including military samples, are presented to expositions. The central place on the platform of the museum is taken by Russo Bolt, recreated according to original factory drawings with a figure of a two-headed eagle on a cowl. According to the founder of the museum Vladimir Kurdyumov, original cause of this brand remained only two. One is in the street Petersburg Polytechnical Museum, the second in Riga where the car was made. 81 libraries work in the city including the State Public Scientific Technical Library of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Science. State Public Scientific Technical Library. The first in-book fund library of an Asian part of Russia, one of the world's largest. Novosibirsk State Regional Scientific Library. And Cecil. The Novosibirsk Regional Children's Library of A.M. Gorky. Not of A.M. Gorky. The Novosibirsk Regional Special Library for Blind and Visually Impaired. NOSB. Novosibirsk Regional Junior Library. Sites: the Children's Railroad, the train near the sports station. Novosibirsk Campus. Bogdan-Khmelnytsky Street. Krasny Avenue. Novosibirsk State Academic Opera and Ballet Theatre. The first representation took place on May 12, 1945. The largest theatrical building of Russia, a monument of federal importance, a city symbol. The station of the railway station, Novosibirsk, Maine. It is accepted in operation in 1939. Which building in a form reminds the green engine rushing on the east. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, the first stone building of the city, consecrated only 6 years later after emergence of the settlement. Near Cathedral, the main street of Novosibirsk, Krasny Avenue, begins. The city trade case. Nowadays Novosibirsk Regional Museum of Local Lore. Construction is ended in 1911. A monument of architecture of federal importance, together with buildings of the State Bank, Central Nair Hotels, the Mayor's offices, Architectural Academy. The Regional Consumer Union and Opera and Ballet Theatre make ensemble of the main square of the city, Lenin Square. Honor Department House. Construction is ended in 1937. The house constructed on the project of the famous architect Anno Domini. Krakow, a monument of architecture of federal importance. The House of Five. 1. Lenin. Nowadays Novosibirsk Philharmonic Hall. Construction is ended in 1925. Is built in memory of the head of the October Revolution of 1917. For implementation of this project, cards with the image of the initial version of the building, which the people nicknamed bricks, were released. The cost of one card was 10 kopecks, the cost of one brick at the time. Cards were bought up by people in the shortest possible time. The building of a commercial meeting. It is reconstructed in Red Torch Theatre. The architecture monument, which is originally constructed in 1914 on Anno Domini. Krakow's project. Quarters of historical pre-revolutionary building. The Silent Center. In Zheleznodorozhny district. The Novosibirsk Museum of Railway Equipment. In the museum, the big collection of engines, locomotives, electric locomotives and cars, and also the Soviet cars, is collected. Total length of exhibition platforms is about 3 kilometers. The ED 3000 Memorial Engine of N.A. Lunin, set in memory of the innovator of railway transport. The Novosibirsk Metro Bridge through the Ob River, which is the longest covered metro bridge in the world, length of 2145 m. The Novosibirsk Reservoir. The Ob Sea is filled in 1957-1959. The popular vacation spot and holding various competitions, the total area of 1082 km. The Novosibirsk Zoo, possessing a collection more than in 700 animal species. Nearly 11,000 individuals for January 1, 2012. The Central Siberian Botanical Garden, the largest in an Asian part of Russia. The area more than 1,000 hectares. The Children's Railroad, more than 5 km long, located in the Zalesovsky pine forest and having 5 stations. Museum of the Sun, the only museum in Russia devoted to signs and symbols of the sun. Monument to 5.1. Lenin. Monument to Alexander III in the city beginning park on the river bank up. At opening there was the Emperor's great-great-grandson, the citizen of Denmark, Pavel Kulikovsky. Flight of the first railway bridge through the Ob River in the city beginning park. Monument to Vladimir Ilyich Lenin at Lenin Square. It is open on November 5, 1970. Bronze is among objects of cultural heritage of federal importance. Multi-figured composition. To the right of a monument to 5.1. Lenin. 3 figures, the worker, the soldier and the peasant, symbolize driving forces of revolution. At the left, the young man's figures with a torch and the girl bearing ears reflect continuity of generations. Sculptor I.F. Brodsky, architects I.G. Pokrovsky, S.P. Skoblikov, G.N. Berkanov. The SS's first monument to a guard dog. In borders of the railway station in Skea in 1983, the monument to a dog to Antias, on which pedestal it is written, is established. To Antias, the loyal friend and fight for safety of socialist property in 1968-1980. With his help, more than 100 criminals are detained and 62 crimes are solved. Antias served with the conductor 1. Litvinov in the militarized protection of Ministry of Railways of the USSR. During detentions, the dog saved life to the conductor more than once. Monument to Rostislav Shiloh. It is established on the platform at the Swan Lake of the Novosibirsk Zoo in August 2017. The monument to Home Front workers is open in 2015. Religion. Orthodoxy. Nikolai Yermolov and Innokenty Kikin, the Novosibirsk New Martyrs. Ascension Cathedral, the Cathedral of the Novosibirsk and Berdsk Diocese. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, one of the first stone buildings in the city. Chapel for the sake of the prelate and wonderworker Nikolai. Church of the Intercession of the Most Holy Mother of God. The Temple of the Saint Mater Evany, a farmstead of convent for the sake of Archistratega Mikhail. The Temple for the sake of the Saint Great Martyr and the Healer, Panalaiman. Church in honor of an icon of the Mother of God, Znamennaya Balatsky. Ukatelskaya Street. The Temple for the sake of the Saint Apostle Andrew I called Pulanin Street. Church of the Assumption in the Birchwood. Archangel Michael Church. Bolsheviskaya Street. The Temple for the sake of Nicholas II. Nikitin Street. Tsar Passion Bearer. The Temple for the sake of Venerable Euphrosyne of Palatsk. East. The House Temple of Envy, Ministry of Internal Affairs for the sake of the Prince Vladimir equal to the Apostles. Trinity Cathedral. Monastery in honor of Saint New Martyrs Russian. The Temple for the sake of all saints. The Temple for the sake of the Reverend Serafim of Sarov. At Slava's Monument. Church of the Assumption on the Zatulinsky. Zhilmasev. The temple for the sake of the case and icon of the Mother of God. Krasnubsk. The temple for the sake of all saints, in the Russian land who lit up in the Novosibirsk campus. Church of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin. Annunciation Church on the Lock Street. Nicholas Church in the Lower Eltsovka. Monastery for the sake of John the Forerunner. The temple for the sake of the prelate Mitrofan Voronezhky. Medvedev. The temple for the sake of the case and icon of the Mother of God. Xem. Other faiths. Old Belief Cathedral Razdestva Presbyteria of the Virgin, the Cathedral Novosibirsk and the Diocese of Siberia of the Russian Orthodox Old Belief Church. Cathedral of Lourdes. Transformation Cathedral of Catholic Church. House of Worship Christian of Belief Evangelical on Leningradskaya Street. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Kamenskaya Street. It is constructed in 1924. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Solnikhnaya Street. It is constructed in 1961. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Serafimovich Street. It is constructed in 1988. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Pastel Street. It is constructed in 1991. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians, Transformation, on Okanskaya Street. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Sevastopolskaya Street. House of Worship of Evangelical Baptist Christians on Brani Lane Street. Church of the Precept Christian Vera Evangelical. Progress Recreation Center. Calvary Chapel Church. Mosque, local religious organization of Muslims of Novosibirsk. Mosque, local religious organization of Muslims of Novosibirsk of an Asian part of Russia. Synagogue at the Novosibirsk Jewish Communal Cultural Center. Shatinkina. 68. Renshindatsan, the Buddhist temple in Novosibirsk. East Russian Allied Mission of Church of Christians of Seventh-day Adventist Church. Forest Glade, 46. Cemeteries. In Novosibirsk 8 cemeteries. Kisinobradsky, Zaeltsovsky, Insky, Kamensk, Kleshikinsky, Chemsky, Northern Southern. And also 2 crematoriums work. The Zaeltsovsky Cemetery, which is located in a northern part of the city at Mokoshinskoye Highway, concerns the largest in the city. About graves. It one of the oldest in Novosibirsk. Among buried at the cemetery, one of founders of Novosibirsk N.M. Tikhomirov, the accordion player and the accordion player G.D. Zavolikin, the Metropolitan Novosibirsk Nikifor. Astashevsky, the Sister Master of Arts. Bulgakova is 5. A. Bulgakova, the musicologist I. 1. Solitinsky, the poet Tatyana Snezhina. Subsequently it is reburied on the Troykurovsky Cemetery in Moscow. The participant of the Commune of Paris A. Lejeune. Subsequently it is reburied at the Wall of Communards in Paris. The rock singer and the poetess Janka Diagoleva and others. The Kleshikinsky Cemetery is opened in 1952, occupies the space of 120 hectares. In 2001 the Church of an Icon was constructed here satisfying Greaves, in style of the Moscow temples of the 17th century. In 2009 the 13-meter Columbarny wall with 280 niches was put up. At the cemetery one of the most famous residents of Novosibirsk, hero of the Soviet Union 5G. Krikin is buried. There are graves of the famous Russian actress Ekaterina Savinova and the Soviet rock musician Dmitry Selivanov. The Southern Cherbuzice Cemetery is in the campus. Arbasov Street. It is known that here outstanding scientists, the founder of the Siberian Office of Ras Academician Master of Arts. Lavrentuev, Academicians 5. A. Coptic M.M. Lavrentuev, G. 1. Budker A. Trofimic N. Yanenko 5. N. Monahov, the winner of the Lenin Award, the heart surgeon E.N. Meshelkin, etc. But also the famous pianist W.A. Lothar Shevchenko, the musician and the poet Sergei Filetnik are buried. Media. In Novosibirsk, regional representative offices of 3 largest Russian news agencies work. RIA Novosti, TASS and Interfax. Among regional business publications of the city there is a weekly newspaper, Kontinent Sibir. Till 2001, the Businessman Siberia. Television. On July 10, 1957 the first skilled transfer of television to the Novosibirsk studio took place. Now State TV and Radio Broadcasting Company Novosibirsk, Federal State Unitary Enterprise VRR branch. Regular broadcasting was begun on August 7, 1957. In 1959 the first mobile television station, Minsk, appeared. Since November 1967 TV viewers of Novosibirsk had an opportunity to watch in color transmissions of the central television. With emergence in 1975 local transfers became new PEDS color also. On August 1, 1991 they began broadcasting the television Mir station, the first Novosibirsk non-state TV company. In the Ord Novosibirsk television fell into decay. In 2005 2 non-state TV need-4 and need-12 channels were closed. TV companies began to sign contracts with the Moscow TV channels for relaying of their signal with small local inserts and advertising. Time of own broadcasting of State TV and Radio Broadcasting Company Novosibirsk after her inclusion in structure FGUP VRR was considerably reduced. Now own broadcasting in Novosibirsk is conducted by OTS TV channel, AK 49, House and also Telesib and Region TV. The last 2 at a frequency of TV-3 channel. Radio. On September 9, 1926 the first 4U broadcasting RORIR-6 transmitter aired on Novosibirsk for the first time in Siberia. In 1931 on Insky Travel, in 7 came from the city, the third was constructed at the time on power. After Moscow and Kolpino. RORIR-76 radio station on 100U. In 1956 broadcasting in range on radio station No. 5 located in Kirovsky district of Novosibirsk was begun. From the 1960th to the 1990th years in Novosibirsk in the FF range there were only 2 transmitters. 67. 88 marked the first program of all Union Radio with transfers of the Novosibirsk radio, and 69.26 Match Radio Mayak, where stereo broadcasting of programs of the Novosibirsk radio was conducted from 17 to 22 o'clock. In the DV range at a frequency of 270 kHz were duplicated the first program of all Union Radio with transfers of the Novosibirsk radio. In the EVS range transmitters 576 kHz, the Radio Beacon, 675 kHz, the Radio Youth and 1287 kHz, the third program of all Union Radio worked. Also, in Novosibirsk the 3-channel wire broadcasting network which works still, despite the outdated equipment, was created. Relays, Radio of Russia, Mayak and Radio 54. Since the beginning of the 1990th years of divide and EVS ranges fell into decay and active development of FF of range began. Now they are generally occupied by the Moscow radio stations, but there are also local speakers. City Wave, Radio Uniton. Also there are radio channels at a City Wave at a frequency of 101.4 FM and Radio 54 at a frequency of 106.2 FM. Since the beginning of the 1990th years of divide and EVS ranges fell into decay and active development of FF of range began. Now they are generally occupied by the Moscow radio stations, but there are also local speakers. A City Wave at a frequency of 101.4 FM, Radio 54 at a frequency of 106.2 FM, Radio Uniton at a frequency of 100.7 FM. In the Novosibirsk region, regional frequencies of Radio 54 and Radio Russia/State TV and Radio Broadcasting Company Novosibirsk work. In some areas low-power radio transmitters in the FF range of 65-74 Mach still remain, but ERTOS gradually transfers all broadcasting to the range of 87-108 Mach. Till 2014 in Novosibirsk at a frequency of 171 kHz, Radio of Russia, the Tomsk radio is accepted. The transmitter is installed in the same place where in 270, 576 and 1026 kHz in the item. Moskovsky's Rainbow of the region of the Novosibirsk region. Sport. The hockey club Siberia acts in the Kiekel Championship. In the 7th season of Kiekel 2014/2015 club won bronze medals. In the Momel Championship the hockey club Siberian Snipers acts. Women's hockey club Grizzly acts in League of Female Hockey since 2015. Since 2016 acts in 2 structures. Grizzly -1 and Grizzly -2. In this season of 2016/2017, Grizzlies -1 became the bronze prize winner of the final of the 6th All-Russian Festival on Hockey among amateur teams. Women's hockey club Siberian Huskies acts in League of Female Hockey of Russia. Bandy. Hockey club Sibsamish, the 4-fold champion of Rusfers in bandy, the champion of Russia. 1995. The 3-fold silver prize winner of the Championship of Russia, the finalist of the Cup of the European Champions. Acts in a Super League of the Championship of Russia. In the highest league the Sibsamish team -2 acts. Soccer. The Football Club Siberia. Till January 2006, Kokolovets -1936. In the season of 2010 acted in the Premier League of the Championship of Russia and the OEA Europa League. In superiority of PFL. Earlier the second division. East the teams Siberia -2, Kokolovets Olympique acted. In the Championship of Russia among Elf SV Siberia, the Siberia M team, which was replaced on June 29, 2019 with Novosibirsk M, acted. In 2019 a new football club instead of disbanded Siberia is created. The Women's Football Club, Crystal, acts in the Championship of Russia in soccer among women's clubs and teams of the second division. 5A side. The Mini Football Club, Sibiryak, the two-fold silver and four-fold bronze prize winner of the Championship of Russia, acts in the Super League of the Championship of Russia on 5A side. In the highest league, East, of the Championship of Russia on 5A side, the Sibiryak D team acts. Volleyball. Volleyball Club, Lokomotiv, the two-fold owner of a Russian Cup. 2010-2011. The winner of the Champions League of a season 2012/2013, the winner of the Championship of Russia in a season 2019/2020, the silver prize winner of the Championship of Russia in a season 2013/2014, the bronze prize winner in a season 2016/2017. Acts in a Super League of the Championship of Russia. In Youth Volleyball League, the Lokomotiv Sivs team, the winner of superiority of Youth Volleyball League of a season 2017/18, silver. 2016/17. And the bronze, 2012/13. Prize winner acts. Fourfold owner of the Cup of League. 2012, 2013, 2015, 2017. In the highest league, B, of the Women's Championship of Russia in the zone, Siberia, the Novosibirsk club, Kirovets acts. Basketball. The Novosibirsk Basketball Club acts in the Super League. Twofold owner. 2014/2015, 2016/2017. And twofold bronze prize winner. 2017/2018, 2018/2019. Of the Russian Cup. The champion of the Super League in a season 2014/2015. The Women's Basketball Club, Dynamo, the threefold champion of the USSR, the owner of the Cup Ranketi, the repeated champion of Rosvos, the twofold silver prize winner of the Championship of Russia, acts in Premier League of the Championship of Russia. Speedway. The team on a cinder and ice speedway of Speedway Siberia Pokto, repeated champions of the USSR on an ice speedway, world champions, is included into a Super League of the Russian teams on motorcycle races on ice. Red Bull. And Novosibirsk develops the young sport which arose on a joint of rugby, fight and basketball. In the Championship of Russia, the Siberia, Ob, Choker and Sable teams act. 75 children's and youth sports schools work in the city. Complex on sports. Volleyball, basketball, soccer, ice hockey and figure skating, schools of single combats. Also there are commercial paintball clubs and laser tag clubs. Honorable inhabitants. The rank of the honorable resident of Novosibirsk is given to 31 person. 3 times to the hero of the Soviet Union, the Marshal of Aircraft Alexander Ivanovich Pokryshkin. The rank is given on December 7, 1967 for outstanding merits and feats at protection of the Soviet homeland. The first assignment of A rank, then Ignatiy Gromov and Yakov Mikhailovich Alichev became honorable inhabitants. After E rank were awarded the head of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Science, the created Novosibirsk campus, the academician Mikhail Alexeyevich Lavrentiev, the head with the Russian Academy of Medical Science academician Vlail Petrovich Kaznechev, the founder of the Novosibirsk Scientific Research Institute of Pathology of Blood Circulation Evgeny Nikolaevich Meshokhin. The former mayor and the governor of the Novosibirsk region Viktor Alexandrovich Tolokomsky, the former mayor and the head of administration in Donetsk, Ivan Ivanovich, the former first secretary of the Novosibirsk Regional Committee of the Sisu Filatov Alexander Pavlovich, the former mayor and the governor of the Novosibirsk region Vladimir Filipovich Korodetsky, the muralist Alexander Sergeyevich Chernobrovtsev. Tourism. Origin and development of the tourist movement in Novosibirsk belongs to the beginning of the 20th century. The Nikolaev businessman, newspaper and the publisher, the bookseller Nikolai Pavlovich Litvinov published the reference book on the city of New Nikolaevsk, opened the first New Nikolaev bookstore, organized the city's first help office, reading room for the passing passengers, the first 1900 printing house. Elektropokatnya, binding and ruling institutions H. and A. Litvinov in New Nikolaevsk printed also books, brochures, albums and photocards with city views. It is confirmed that teachers of the New Nikolaev Real School opened in 1912 organized at the beginning of the 20th century for pupils a trip to Lake Telepsy. Society of Studying of Siberia and its Life released in 1912, and in 1914 republished, the collection of instructions and programs for participants of excursions to Siberia, for the purpose of giving of regularity to research of tourists and tourists. In the early 20s of the 20th century in Novosibirsk, incidental excursions and campaigns were organized. In March 1921, within 7 days, tours across New Nikolaevsk for the parts of garrison subordinated to the Novosibirsk division, with visit of the iron, soap producing plants, the Trud plant, macaroni factory, mills, etc. Enterprises were conducted. In the summer of the same year, the Zakamensky October District Committee of Komsomol suited a boat campaign with the propaganda purpose on the Ob River to the village of Small Krivodanovka. The grassroots tourist movement was developed in the late 20s. In February 1928, at the initiative of members of Society of Studying of Siberia and its productive forces at Board of Society, the Commission for the Organization in Siberia of Office of the Russian Society of Tourists (REST) is created. In her recommended 5A, Papashev N.K. Arabic 5.1, Semlyov, Master of Arts, Kravkov 5A, Stanovan 50.5, Konsinski, subsequently 5A, Papashev 5.1. Semlyov made a notable contribution to development of tourist routes and participated in preparation of special editions. Sites. Places of display, popular with travel companies of Novosibirsk. Bogdan Khmelnytsky Street, Krasny Avenue Street, Campus. Central Siberian Botanical Garden of the Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Science. Zoo. Opera Theatre. Higher educational institutions of Novosibirsk. The house in which there lived Vera Afanasyevna Bulgakova, the main prototype of the heroine of the novel, White Guard. Yana Diagileva's house. According to the reference book by N.P. Litvinev on New Nikolaevsk. The second edition appeared in 1912. The city is nodal point from where go from the highway of the Siberian Railroad to many medical and country resorts of Altai. Kemel, Tudrala, Solonovka, Belokorica, Black Annie, Cherga, partly Karachi and Rachmanovsky Keys. Tourist Information Center. On March 1, 2016, the Tourist Information Center (TIC), which suggests tourists and residents to apply for free information on objects of culture, history, tourist and natural sites, tourist routes, and other information. The Novosibirsk region opened. Within one of the TITS projects, the tourist portal of the Novosibirsk region is started. Hotels. In the city of Novosibirsk, more than 10 four-star hotels function. Among them there are also not network. 4 views from 4 stars Myrotel Novosibirsk Hotel. 4 views from 4 stars the Novosibirsk Hotel Park Marins. 3 views from 3 stars of Azimuth Siberia Hotel. Category name of hotel. 3 views from 3 stars the Central Hotel. 3 views from 3 stars the Gold Valley. Campus. 3 views from 3 stars. River Park Hotel. Op Hotel. Hotels 5 and 4 the international operators Hilton Hotels, Radisson, Marriott International are also presented. Painting. Novosibirsk is imprinted in many works of the Novosibirsk artists. About it created works Nikolai Gritsyuk. Krasny Avenue, 1959. Alexander Silik. Apartments on the pavement -44, Old and New Novosibirsk, a winter city landscape. Mikhail Kozakovtsev's pictures with the image of Novosibirsk, the middle of the 20th century, decorate transition of the Lenin Square station in the Novosibirsk subway. Pieces of music. Many songs were devoted to the city by the Novosibirsk music bands and performers. Groups: Corridor, Chernish and Barcelona, Arkady Demidenko. One of the most popular songs about Novosibirsk was composed by the firefighter Vladislav Lenski. Performers: Vladislav Lenski, Joseph Kobzin, Maya Krystalinskaya. The song about the city was written by the singer Shura, who was born in Novosibirsk. The Moscow group Hadn has a Novosibirsk song. Novosibirsk is present at a computer game, The Subway. An outcome where it is presented as the dead city destroyed by nuclear war. Also Novosibirsk is in the mobile game, They Are Survival, at which it is present as the city base. He is destroyed and infected with radiation, but survivors still take refuge in him. In a computer game of survival. Post-Apocalypse Now, left on December 3, 2019, the player should survive in the conditions of the Siberian post-apocalypsis. In a computer game of Comma Bullet Heritage 2, all city of Novosibirsk wallowed in corruption and sale of drugs. The main character looked for work. He arrived from the small town of Kislyovsk and began to look for work on announcements on Avito. Tuum suggested to come to an interview and to discuss work. When the main hero of Campule came to the mix and salt company, Tuum suggested to sell drugs to children. Campule couldn't tolerate already this lawlessness, and I decided to crush all this office. All churches in the territory of the area, except only Uspensky Cemeterial Church in Novosibirsk, were in the late 30s closed. The family of the Soviet and Polish military leader Rokossovsky in days of the Second World War lived in Novosibirsk on Yaritsky Street. The variety actor, mentalist Wolf Messing lived in Novosibirsk in 1943-1944. The Russia's first fighter computer network appeared in 1990 in Novosibirsk. On November 6, 1992 in Kirovsky district on the Zatulinsky Zhil massive of Novosibirsk on Petakok Street at the initiative of A50. Stankov, the former head of Department of Promotion and Propaganda of the Novosibirsk District Committee of Party. And 5. A. Voronev, the former first deputy mayor of Novosibirsk, was established a stand with a slogan: "Long live thanks to what we, despite everything." On August 1, 2008, Novosibirsk became the main observation post of a so-called Russian total solar eclipse. The city of Novosibirsk won first place in the rating of the alternative capitals of Russia made by experts of the Rosbusiness Consulting Media Group on the basis of results of survey conducted at the end of April, the beginning of June, 2012. In 2012, Novosibirsk took the third place in the rating of quality of the urban environment made by the Ministry of Regional Development of the Russian Federation, the Russian Union of Engineers, Federal Construction and Housing and Communal Services Agency, Federal Service for the Oversight of Consumer Protection and Welfare, and also Lomonosov Moscow State University. In Novosibirsk, 5 memorial engines. At stations Novosibirsk Main and Inskaya, near the main building of the Siberian State Transport University, on crossing of Railway Road and Dimitrov Avenue, and at the Sportivnaya station of Small West Siberian Railway. In Novosibirsk, Planovokanaya Street at the same time both it is parallel, and is perpendicular to itself and forms the intersection with itself. In Novosibirsk are available Lebedevsky Street and Lyapodevsky in close proximity to each other, and the part of the houses relating to Lebedevsky Street. Come to Lyapodevsky Street. The first person who stepped into the moon, American astronaut Neil Armstrong, specially visited Novosibirsk to take away an earth handful from walls of the house in which I lived, and one of pioneers of astronautics, Yuri Kondratyuk, the author of the scheme of flight of the spaceship to the moon used for implementation of the Apollo program work. Novosibirsk, the only city in Russia which was located in 2 time zones. From the moment of the basis, Novosibirsk grew at 2 parts on different coast of Ob. And as the hour meridian passed directly down the river, in the city there were 2 times. On the left coast the difference with Moscow made 3 hours, and on right -4. At first it didn't give a big inconvenience, each half lived enough separately. In 1955, when the first automobile bridge through Ob was built, the city became more connected. In 1958, Novosibirsk passed to the uniform time zone. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.